Good evening, my friend. How are you? I hope you're doing well. It's been a minute again. Shocker. I'm sweating because I've taken a few shots and the AC just got turned on because I just got home like 20 minutes ago. So, anyway, today's video is everything Dune. I've been meaning to make this video for quite some time. Just kind of, you know, had some. I have a lot of thoughts about it. And this will probably be like part one of many videos about Dune, honestly. But yeah, so I just started reading Dune, which I'll get into a little bit more as well as we go. Oh, gosh, where to start? I went and saw Dune the weekend it came out with Paul, and it was hard to describe. I was pretty stoned when we saw it, so I think that made it have sort of a more lasting impact upon me. Yeah, I don't know. It really stuck with me. Like, it's a gorgeous movie. I mean, the movie is absolutely gorgeous. I actually just recently rewatched it and jotted down some still frames to grab, and and so I was like trying to take some screenshots of the movie on my phone, or not my phone. I'll take screenshots of the movie because I bought it on YouTube, so it's like I own it, I guess. And yeah, it wouldn't let me take any screenshots, so that's a thing. So I just went ahead and took photos of all the oh my god, I'm like sweating. Just went ahead and took photos of the still frames. It's a gorgeous movie. I mean, I don't know, there's so many things about it that just really strike me. I'm a huge fan of Denis Villeneuve. The cinematographer who worked on that movie obviously is fucking fantastic. I mean, the shots they picked were absolutely stunning, time and time again. Yeah, so let me show you a few. Because yeah, so my thing, hold on, let me see if I can edit this real quick. Let me just move me real quick over here. That's better. We'll keep that for the moment. So I don't know if you haven't seen this movie. I guess some spoilers in this video, not a terrible amount, but some. So I would suggest that you have seen the movie to watch this, I suppose. This was probably one of my favorite shots that I sort of carried with me for a long time after the movie. It's I don't know if the scene really needs an explanation, but it's like people exiting a spaceship, and these lights and like sort of the gradation between the light to the darkness and the robes and oh god, it's fucking gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Let's see what else we got. This one is also of the same sort of scene-ish, but it's of that same ship leaving. I just love how abstract this is. Like, this is so fucking abstract. Like, there's this like fog, so you can't really make out shapes exactly. But then you have all these like lights coming off of it, and like it just looks like so weird and ominous in a weird way, and like something outside of your ability to understand exactly like why would a spaceship need this many lights, why why does it look this way. It's very interesting. I loved this reminded me of something else that I have no idea what it is. Like, it called back to my childhood for some reason. Like, I think it makes me think of like maybe AI or something. Artificial Intelligence, the movie with the teddy bear. I think that's partially it. I don't know. I just love this shot so much. This one is of it's another spacecraft leaving underwater, so it was like stored underwater but leaving it. Just loved that too, like the sort of all the water falling off of it and everything. That's great. This one is these little speckles right here are little spaceships leaving this big ass thing. I forget what it's called. There's a name for it. but I just love it. This is a planet right here. This is Arrakis, and it's like all the Atreides showing up on Arrakis for the first time through this transportation vehicle. It's like all these spaceships are spaceships, but then this one's like a big spaceship to carry other small spaceships through bigger spaces of space. I don't know. You following? You're following. This is the city of Arrakeen on Arrakis. I just loved the way they designed this city, like how it sort of looks so built into the landscape. I will say it really reminded me of Blade Runner 2049. Some of the city shots they had in Blade Runner 2049 looked similarly compact and uniform, and like the sort of nuanced detail of it all was just like so striking. And like this really carries that well because it looks like it like blends into the scenery. You know, it's like built around the landscape, which, I mean, Arrakis is the perfect example of that because it's like so hostile. It's great. It's great stuff, man. Let me tell you. This was another scene. I couldn't get the exact frame that I was thinking about or that I had noted down. This wasn't exactly it, but this is close enough. Like, I just love the way her dress like flew in the wind, and it's like her headdress is like on her fucking face. Like, it's just so, I don't know. It's like this juxtaposition between like formality and elegance, but also like nature fighting against that so hard on a fundamental level because it's like just like pushing her out of the way. You know, it's great. I love that. This is a close-up shot of a carryall leaving, a carryall being like a transportation device to grab big things to move it, and this being a crawler, which a crawler is like a machine that harvests spice from the ground. Anyway, I'm getting into details you don't really need, but I just love this close-up for some reason. Like, it's like very weirdly complex and close in for what it is. I don't know. And then this is another shot of that same scene, basically. This is the carryall. These are these ornithopters here. I just loved the sort of these two together. Two great looking machines. And you got the spotter here. Is that what they called? Spotters? I don't know. But yeah. This is not exactly the same, exactly the frame that I wanted, but it was hard to get the exact frame that I wanted. But this is an explosive coming down and hitting those same ships that we saw coming out of the water, but they all have shields on them. So these bombs, they come down and they slowly penetrate this shield because like speed detracts. Kind of like cornstarch. Like, you know, when you add like water to cornstarch, it like, if you go like fast, it like hits back. I don't know. You probably had that experiment when you were a kid, but it's like that, I guess, you know. And so this explosive gets into the shield and then explodes, and the explosion is then confined within the shield. So it's moving around the spaceship, it's engulfing it inside of its own shield before the entire thing sort of just erupts, you know. And it's I loved this so much because the shield's concept was cool and everything, but I feel like this explosive utilizing the visual of this explosion, utilizing that shield mechanism that we've already become somewhat familiar with within this point of the storyline, it's great. Another shot of the same thing. This blue stuff is like the shield, right? And there's like some explosions happening, and yeah, this is also a great shot of some weird ass air balloons coming down onto this hellscape. And this shot is great. All the fucking ships on fire. With all the people, and they're like, what the fuck? It's great. This scene is a perfect scene of chaos right here. Like, this is just glorious in so many ways. This is also fantastic. This is like the sort of main ship that was carrying everything, I think, basically. And it has this like massive ballistic sort of arsenal thing on it, shooting out all of these fucking explosives, like as if it's fireworks, basically. And then you got the ornithopter here, sort of in the foreground. But just this array occurring here is like so gorgeous. So gorgeous. This is Paul and his mom in the tent, and the spice is like inside the tent and like floating around in the air. And so like the light sort of like makes it all glimmer. And I just loved all these little particles. It just looks so pretty. And I think this is the last shot that I have. Yeah, it is. But this, like, their crash landed ornithopter amongst this sort of barren sea of white-ish sand, and like this like massive rock formation just like sort of floating in the background. I just loved this. Like, this could be like a painting. Like, so many of these shots could be like just straight up paintings, and it's fantastic. I love it. So now that we've covered why I love the movie visually, and yes, the sweat has only gotten worse since you last saw my face closely. I should grab like a towel. Yeah, I just loved the movie so much. It touched me in a lot of ways, visually and emotionally, that a movie hasn't in a long time. So it was very nice to see. And of course, I mean, that set me down a path of being utterly engulfed by the story of Dune, I suppose. I I got very sort of, I guess, antsy and what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I kind of just like gave up on the idea of reading the books, so I went and like looked at the wiki pages for all of the books, and like, because there's like 7 of them, I think, in the main saga, and yeah, I just read all the wiki pages, did all the stuff. I mean, it's absolutely bonkers. The story is absolutely bonkers. After I read that, I was like, I'm not gonna fucking read these books. These books are literally insane. Like, I love the movie because it's a visual masterpiece. It's fantastic. Cinematography is amazing. The vibe is just so potent. But I was like, I'm not going to read the books. I'm just not going to. And and so I started watching. It was last Monday. I tried watching the movie for the like 9th or 10th time. Didn't get through it. I was like, I'm too tired, I'm not gonna watch it, because it's like a 2.5 hour long movie. It's a long movie, but mind you, it's only part 1 too. There's this part 2 coming out in October, I think it's November. Yeah, so yeah, it's a long movie. I was like gonna watch it, and then I was like, you know what, so I like popped onto Amazon real quick, and I just ordered the book. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna fucking order this book. I'm gonna read the book. Because I was like, okay, well, I could read the full book before the second movie comes out, so that, you know, I go into the second movie with some background context of what it should be. I mean, I would say the effectiveness and success of the movie on my mind was partially because of the fact that I hadn't read the book, you know. So yeah, I ordered the book. I got here on Friday. Yeah, Friday. And yeah, I'm 125 pages in right now, and making this video instead of reading it. You're welcome. Sorry, that sounded stupid. You're welcome to me, really, because I haven't made a video in so long, and I wanted to talk about this. So anyway, yeah, the book is amazing. My coworker is reading it as well, and she was just saying about how hard it is to read because it's just so like involved and so expositional and detailed and blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see. But I gotta tell you, it's sorry, text messages. I gotta tell you, it is amazing, and it is wonderful to read the sort of in between the parts of the movie that I know closely because I've watched it so many times at this point, to see those moments in between and feel that and everything, you know. Yeah, no, it's great. It's fantastic. I mean, it definitely drives me to keep reading more than I think it would otherwise, because of the fact that I know, like, sort of point A to point B, but I don't know the 8.1, point 2, point 3 between those two, you know? So it's great. It's great. Yeah, I'm excited to finish it. And now that I have started reading it, I'm like, you know what? I don't think I could stop. I think I'm just going to read all 7 fucking books. Because, yeah, it's just really good. And it picks up pretty fast too. The pace of the story does get pretty fast by the sort of meat of the book. And it's interesting. Frank Herbert has a very interesting style of exposition, I suppose, because he puts all this weird shit that you don't understand at all, like plainly out there, and just like doesn't really explain it. He just like puts it out there as if it were matter of fact, as if it were understood, and then slowly sort of lets these things expose themselves naturally, like through happenstance. I mean, of course, it was probably through curation and through the articulation in the writing process to actually check those boxes of explaining those things. But nonetheless, it's not like, oh, here's this thing. Okay, so this thing is all this, and then like, oh, this thing is all this. It's like, here's this thing, other stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this makes sense now. I get what's going on, So it's interesting. It's different. Yeah. So last night when I was reading it, I got so sort of inspired that I wanted to write a little bit about the story and what I was at and what I was feeling about it so far. So I'd like to read that to you. So this is about page 85, or I'm writing it in about where the story is for page 85. So I wrote, it's quite interesting how there's this underbelly of realism/imperialism combated with combated with religion and its inherent beyond scientific belief system. You have Duke Leto and his men at a table. These men examine the practicing of the Fremen, the way they interact with their belief system in not only a deeply personal way, but also a deeply social way. There is a pluralism? There is a pluralism to it. In contrast, you have these men examining the Harkonnen. They all seem to agree in the fundamental atrocious nature of this planetary species in particular. There's even a reference in comparing the Harkonnens to the old ways, regardless of the present universal societal way. You've got Duncan Idaho spending weeks with the Fremen in their homes. You've also got Gurney Halleck reciting, as we like to call it, woo-woo bullshit. Both represent the obvious lacking between them. Balance. In a balanced manner, there is an alliance formed between the two forces, a bond of empathetic understanding. That, in fact, is the goal of House Atreides' introduction into the socio-economic system that resides upon Arrakis. This group of people intends to form an environment that is equitable to both parties in a nuanced manner, this being something the Harkonnens have done the opposite of for hundreds of years with the Fremen and native people. If we imagined a scale of aggressiveness, not only in the familiar way of negative physical action upon us or others otherwise perceived as not deserving of such, but we also imagine it in the way of action plainly, some are more actively outward than others. Within the position explained thus far, the scale would be the Harkonnens, House Atreides, and the Fremen. To me, the Harkonnens represent much of what we otherwise refer to as evil, as the evil of the world, and the Fremen what we otherwise refer to as innate, or grounded, or one with nature. Fundamentally, in my mind, the leading force of the Atreides house is rebellion amongst the atrocious norm these people have faced. And while only being 86 pages in, but knowing the way the book ends, boy am I excited to see this utter transformation of that proposed path. It somehow achieves exactly what it intended to, but in possibly the most gravest of ways, becoming the thing they intend to destroy. Yeah. So, all that to say, very excited to continue to read the book. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my experience with Dune. I'm sure I will have many more thoughts to share with you as the days progress and I read more, and, we'll see. But I did want to share that with you. I did want to make a Dune video. Been wanting to make a Dune video for a long time. And yeah. I'm going to switch to miscellaneous now because I'm going to try to wrap this up kind of quickly because it's already been 20 minutes. Hello. How's it going? I've been sweating. Hella. Maybe I shouldn't have taken 4 shots before filming a goddamn video. So I was like, I'll just film it real quick. It's been like 7 days. Mickey, get on it. So here I am, trying to get on it. I'm definitely partially accepting the natural lowering of of my desire to make these. Mostly just because I haven't had terribly much to talk about, as I've said on multiple videos so far. But I also want to take that and sort of, maybe use that to my benefit a little bit and start articulating a little bit more on what I actually want to be talking about. Particularly, I would like to use it as an excuse to write some more and read some of that writing to you. So perhaps I might trial, only making these when I write something, thus sort of leading me to want to write more so that I have something to read when I make these. Yeah. Shit's intense. I'm working a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on. Walling's all over the place. Work's all over the place. My personal life's all over the place. I'm digging it. I'm not really, but I'm surviving. And this book is honestly, oh god, it's like adding this level of like calmness and like balance to my mind state. It's weird. I don't get it. It's like, oh well, there aren't sandworms, so it can't be that bad, right? Yeah, so we'll see. I do want to make more videos, obviously, but I don't want to be necessarily like talking about nothing, I guess. Like, it's easy for me to come on here and like rant about random personal shit or whatever, but that's not exactly the goal. So I'd like to have something actual to share. So yeah, anyway, that's all for me for now. I'm gonna go cool off because it's still probably like 80 degrees in here. It was 89 when I walked in. I need to figure out if I want to just bite the bullet and like keep the AC on to a certain height, because I know that's like what a lot of people do is they'll like turn up the AC to like a certain level when they leave, so it still comes on and keeps it at a certain temperature, which I know would be better, because there's certain things that are like kind of climate sensitive, like certain food products, and probably the fridge itself probably doesn't like being stuck in an environment that changes that much. My plants probably don't. But lately, and a lot of last year too, I just turn off the AC when I leave, and then I come back and I just cool the house down to my usual level once I get back. But it's going from 89 degrees to 76 degrees, and it's like, okay, that's a lot to put on the AC to do in like one consecutive period. Although I'm also not very familiar with how ACs work. Like, is that good or is that bad? I don't know. Some people like blast it, some people like let it run for hours and then turn it off for hours. I don't know what the right move is. But all that to say, it's hot. Summer is approaching. Summer is here, but it's also like still coming, because 110 days are still on the way. And boy, am I excited. I'm fucking excited. So anyway, thank you for joining me on today's adventure through Dune and my experience with it. I wrote a little bit more last night about reading in general and my experience of reading Dune and sort of the way it's making me feel in regards to reading, so maybe I'll do that next. I didn't really finish that though, so I don't know. Oh, I did write a good amount though. Yeah, so we'll see. It's been nice though, admittedly. And yeah, until then, have a delightful evening. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.